All right, guys, should be a pretty quick, simple video coming today. Before I start on it, though, I want to remind you that our poetry project is due on Friday by midnight. I've got that available and Turnitin as of this morning, so you can submit that anytime you feel like it. Some of you have sent your projects to me and had me look at them. If you want to do that to make sure you're on the right track, feel free. That's fine. But again, it's not something you have to overthink. It's not anything terribly difficult. I'm going to give you some examples in today's video of how I want you to do this. You'll have to bear with me because I'm typing one-handed. Also on Google Classroom, I've posted a Shirley Chapter 13 Lesson 1 assignment. It's 5 questions on predicate adjectives. You have to identify the predicate adjectives in the sentence. If you have forgotten those, if you're not sure how to do it, look back at my video where I talked about predicate adjectives and gave examples, and look back at Shirley Chapter 13 Lesson 1. Again, these little assignments like this are always open book when they're online. Feel free to use any resource you have available to take the quiz. Don't make it harder than it has to be. All right. So this is a blank Google Doc. I don't have anything set yet. It's on the default font of Arial, 11 font and all that. So I'm going to set it up in MLA because I do want the poetry project in MLA. So I make it Times New Roman, make it 12 font, go up here to our line spacing, and we click double. And then for a header, you got to insert, go down here, page number. You want to put it at the top right. Okay, pretty simple. And then I will put my name, since I'm the one doing this. Sorry, I know this is kind of hard to see. All right. So I just type my name there, hit space, and now that is my page number. If I hit enter all the way down to a new page, it'll go to Jones 2, so on and so forth. One thing you do want to make sure of, click up here on your header and look and see if it changes the font and font size. If it doesn't, you're good. If it does change it back, you may need to highlight this by dragging over it and then go up here and change it to Times New Roman 12 font, because sometimes the header sets itself differently than the rest of the page. Now, do not type the part that goes over here, which is actually called an MLA header, with the page number. Just click down, start on the first line of the actual paper, and then you're going to go first name, again, bear with me, I'm typing one-handed, last name. Simple. Then you space down. You're going to put my name because you're turning this into me, which I know is confusing because it's my first and last name and then Mr. Jones, but this is the way it would look. Just imagine your name on that first line instead. Then you can just put English 6, which is pretty straightforward. You don't have to put anything else other than that. And then for the final line, you put the date, which is going to be this Friday, which is 8 May 2020. Pretty simple. Everything except for that first line is exactly how yours is going to look, okay? That first line is just going to be your name. Everything else is the same. I've shown you this at least 2 or 3 times in class. Most of you, from looking at your essays on the bronze bow, seem to have this down pretty well. If you don't, if you're confused at all by this, you can look at the Purdue OWL website. That'll give you more guidance than I can give you in an hour-long video. And again, your last name will be up here rather than mine. So once you come to the end of your little header here, you hit enter, and then I'm going to click right here. See that center align? Puts it in the middle. Then I don't capitalize and I don't italicize. Well, I do capitalize, I'm sorry. I don't bold or italicize or underline my title unless it includes the title of a book, okay? So for this, you could just put the name of your poet. Like if I was doing Robert Frost, I know some of you are, because I've done videos on him. If I'm doing Robert Frost, I just hit enter once, come back down. That's the title of my thing. For this poetry project, I don't mind if the title is just your poet's name. That's fine. It doesn't have to be. You can make your title more detailed, but you absolutely don't have to. So then for an example of how I want these to look, I might say Poem A, which is not the name of an actual poem by Robert Frost as far as I'm aware. Poem A has A, B, A, well, not A, V, A, that would be weird. A, B, A, B, C, B, C, B, rhyme scheme. And a meter of 8 syllables per line. Okay, that tells me all I need to know about the rhyme scheme and meter of this poem. That's all I'm really looking for here. I'm not looking for anything really in depth. That you don't have to say, it's tetrameter or anything like that. You could say then it's split into two stanzas. Of 4 lines each. And there, you've taken care of the structure of the poem. If you said 2 quatrains, that's great too. But if you just said 2 stanzas of 4 lines each, I would take that. Then I want something, any other observations you might have. You might say Frost uses images of snow, well, not so, or sow, female pig, snow and ice frequently in this poem. Sorry, I know the one-handed typing's rough. I could have had this already typed up, but I wanted you to see me put this thing in MLA formatting just as a walkthrough. So Frost uses images of snow and ice frequently in this poem. That tells me something else, like an extra observation. And then for meaning, it's whatever you think it means. So I'm not going to go into that. Just, meaning, which is whatever you think the poem's about. As long as it's reasonable and it comes from the poem, I'm good with that. That could be a sentence. It could be 2 sentences, however many it needs to be. I'm looking for at least about 4 sentences total on each of these poems. And you're going to repeat this 3 times. So you'll have this for poem A, poem B, poem C. And then for your final paragraph, you're going to just kind of compare them to each other, talk about if there's anything in common, what you notice the poet does constantly. Like, does the poet use the same rhyme scheme a lot? Do they not use rhyme at all? Does their meter stay the same? Do they write exclusively in these really short poems that are set up in quatrains? Do they write nothing but sonnets? That kind of thing is what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for anything too in-depth, anything too crazy. I just want to see that you're working with rhyme scheme, meter, stanzas, and that you're working to interpret a poem on your own terms. So if your meaning comes from the poem and is reasonable at all, you're not going to lose points on that. Main things I'm looking for on this is kind of a review of MLA formatting. I want to make sure you get your formatting right. I want to make sure you follow instructions, follow this general format for each paragraph or each of the first 3 paragraphs. And as long as you followed instructions, you will do well on this. It'll be a good test grade for you to end the year on, because we don't have much time left in the year, winding down pretty quickly. Oh, no works cited page. Okay, I don't know if I'd said that before. I think I probably had. You don't have to cite anything on this, because we'd be citing individual poems from websites and all that. And I don't think I've taught you how to cite websites. It's not difficult, but I don't want to throw it in at the end of the year and you have to worry about that, because I'd have to check everybody's and that would be very time consuming for all of us. So just, like I said, follow this general format. Don't worry about works cited page or anything else. Get this submitted on Turnitin by midnight Friday. You can submit it at any point up until then if you want. You can email it to me at any point and say, hey, will you look at this? Is this okay? Now, I'm not going to go through and line by line critique it if you email it to me this week. What I will do, though, is I will tell you, yes, this is kind of what I'm looking for, or no, you might want to go look back at paragraph 3. I think it's not exactly what I'm asking for, that kind of thing. I'll give you general feedback that'll be helpful and will improve your grade. Like I said, one of the ones I've looked at so far this morning was great as is. And I assume most of you will do fine on this. It's not a terribly complicated project. But let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have any questions on the Shirley Chapter 13 Lesson 1 exercise. Make sure it's done by midnight tonight. It's only 5 questions. And have a good rest of your day.